104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. It is a football Friday. The Bills getting ready to host the Patriots this weekend. Big loss last weekend, so now we bring on Sal Maiorana of the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle. Sal, do you just chalk up last week's loss to injuries, or is it more than that?
Well, yeah, last week they were horrible. Injuries aside, that was the worst game they've played maybe all year. I mean, people can point to the Jets game, but, I think this game, the Jets game, Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of caught fire, and it wasn't that the Jets out-physicaled the Bills in any way, which, that makes Rex Ryan feel a little better about that night. But this game, they just got pushed around on both sides of the ball, and that's just a complete personal affront to Rex Ryan and his whole coaching staff. Miami just outplayed them from start to finish. And to me, you go down there, you're 4-2, you've won 4 in a row. You think you're a playoff team. You need to go down and take care of business against a Miami team that was 2-4. And yes, I know they had just beaten the Steelers, but I think the Bills are a better team, and they did not show it last Sunday. It was a lousy loss, and it really creates some problems now because their next 3 are brutal, starting with the Patriots Sunday, and at Seattle, at Cincinnati. They really needed that Miami game to give them a little bit of a cushion for what might happen the next 3 weeks here.
The team had won 4 straight before that loss to Miami. What was the biggest, or who was the biggest reason for that turnaround?
And I couldn't hear you guys.
Oh.
What was the question?
Before that loss to Miami, the Bills had won 4 in a row. Who or what was the biggest turnaround before that loss last weekend?
Oh, I think for the Bills, their defense played really good. I mean, let's face it, the Jets game was an abomination. Rex Ryan was mortified by what happened. And starting with Cardinals game, they played really well on defense. They picked off Carson Palmer, I think it was 4 times that day. And then they played New England without Tom Brady, and Rob Gronkowski was a shell of himself. So you kind of, you don't look too deeply into that game. But nevertheless, they went into Gillette Stadium and shut them out 16-0. I mean, the Patriots didn't have 2 very key guys, but they had a bunch of other guys who were pretty good players. So the defense was where it really turned around for me. The following week in Los Angeles, they got great play by their defense and special teams. So that was what I think turned it around, was the play of the defense. They finally bought into what Rex Ryan has been trying to preach here for a year and a half. It all started to come together. And last week, it all fell apart when a guy named Jay Ajayi rushes for 214 yards. I never even heard of the guy until the week before when he torched Pittsburgh. So it kind of all came unglued. And it's going to be awful tough now for the Bills to regain what they had going because, let me tell you, Brady's going to come into Buffalo Sunday, and it could be a circus out there.
Sal Maiorana of the the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, that is, and right here with Levack and Gaza on 104.5 The Team. Sal, this is an interesting Bills team because so many guys listed on that injury report right now. LaShawn McCoy, Marcel Darius says he's coming back. Who can we expect to see, and are they going to be enough?
Yeah, I just saw the practice report. I'm home today, but over in Buffalo, they've already started practice. No LaShawn McCoy this morning. Aaron Williams will definitely be out. Marquise Goodwin will definitely be out. Williams has the neck injury after the cheap shot last week, and Goodwin has a concussion. McCoy not practicing today is a very bad sign. At least last week, he didn't practice on Thursday. He got hurt on Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday, was limited on Friday. And I still thought he wasn't going to play. They surprised us all by having him play, and it was a terrible decision. And now it looks like it's even a worse decision because I think he'll definitely be out Sunday. Him not practicing today is a bad sign, and I expect in the next hour and a half here this morning when Rex talks to the media, they'll probably say McCoy's out. So that's not good for the offense. Robert Woods, we think, will be able to return, and that will help the passing game. But even then, he's got a foot injury. I'm not sure how good he can be. And then you mentioned Darius. I think Darius will be back. Rex was feeling pretty good, and then Marcel the other day said flat out that he's going to play, and he did practice this morning or started to practice this morning. So I think they'll have him back.
Sal, if there's no LaShawn McCoy, who's running the football?
Well, it's going to have to be Mike Gillislee, and he also missed a couple days of practice. He had a foot problem, but Rex wasn't too worried about it, and I think he's back to practice today. So it's going to have to be he and Reggie Bush. will get some time. Bush, I think he had 18 snaps last week. Part of that was because McCoy didn't play after the middle of the third quarter. I think he had like 6 snaps the whole season until last week. So you might see a little bit more of Reggie Bush. I've kind of been advocating that all season, that why aren't they using him as a third down pass receiver? Their pass receivers are so bad right now with all the injuries. I didn't quite get why they weren't trying to use Bush, because that's a role he can fill, and I think that could be a possibility in this game. They may rely on him a little more maybe than they even did last week.
It boggles our minds over here, Sal. I mean, you're way closer, as you cover the Bills for the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle. We here at the team, where Carlos Williams, like, how did that all fall apart as bad as it did? It looked like he was coming back.
Well, to me, it's completely on Carlos Williams. I mean, this was his fault, 100%. It's well documented. The off season, he got completely out of shape. Wasn't able to practice at all with the Bills, and then he came to training camp. I think he had to sit out the first, I think it was a week and a half before he was even cleared to start practicing. And they looked at him in 3 or 4 practices that first week he was back, and they realized he's still not even close. So they made the decision to go ahead and cut him. I mean, he was going to miss the first 4 games because of his substance abuse suspension. It was almost like the Bills were kind of, I'm not going to say scapegoating him, but making him out to be a lesson to other Bills, maybe, that this is what's going to happen if you get out of shape and if you get yourself suspended for using drugs, because he's a 5th-round draft pick who was making no money, so they could afford to do it. Now he's over on Pittsburgh's practice squad, and, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what McCoy's situation is going to be moving forward, nor do I have any idea what kind of shape Carlos Williams is in. But, we kind of tossed it around here in the media a couple weeks ago. Maybe they would think about, if he is in shape and can play, you could sign him off of Pittsburgh's practice squad and bring him back. The Bills have not mentioned it, so maybe they've completely given up on him. But I'll tell you what, the Carlos Williams who played last year would really help the Bills this year.
Yeah.
But I guess the situation is that they don't think he's that player anymore.
We'd got reports earlier in the week that Zach Brown had been out of practice with an illness. We're almost to the halfway mark of the NFL season now. Is Zach Brown going to win the NFL Defensive Player of the Year award?
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. He's had a real nice year for the Bills, totally a surprise guy. I mean, he wasn't even going to be a starter because they drafted Reggie Ragland to play that position, and then Ragland, hurt his knee, and he's out for the year. So Brown stepped in. He's been a really good player for the Bills. He's kind of tailed off a bit. He got off to an amazing start. One of the games, it might have been the Cardinals game, I forget which one. He had 18 tackles, a sack, a fumble recovery. It was one of the best games on defense the Bills have had in probably 20 years. So he's been a really, really solid guy next to Preston Brown. And what I like about him the best is that he can cover in the pass, too. He's not just a run stopper. The Bills really rely on their middle linebackers to make a lot of tackles. But he's also been pretty good in defending the pass, and that's going to be a skill that he's really going to need this week with Rob Gronkowski and Martellus Bennett. You can't cover all these guys with DBs. The linebackers are going to have to be involved, and we'll see this week. He's got a big, big test in front of him.
Sal Maiorana of the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle. We go to him whenever we get a chance to clear up our insufficient knowledge of the Buffalo Bills.
Sal, you're a guest with us here on a Football Friday, so that means when we have a guest, you have to make a prediction. Prediction time, Bills, Patriots, what do you see happening in this matchup?
Yeah, I see kind of a disaster for the Bills. I mean, especially with how it went down in New England. Bill Belichick is spitting nails to win this game. I don't see how the Bills' defense, even with Darius back, I'm just not sure how they cover all these guys that New England can throw. Bennett, Gronkowski, Edelman, Amendola, Chris Hogan, even LeGarrette Blount in the run game. Brady is just playing great since he's been back. And then you got the Buffalo offense that just is unable to do anything. If McCoy can't play and Tyrod Taylor just not really capable of carrying a passing game, I don't see how the Bills can possibly win. And I'm picking it big. I'm going to say Patriots. I think it's about 34-13, that kind of game.
And Sal, is that something that we all just kind of look at and go, Rex and the Bills went in there undermanned because of injuries, or do we, hold his feet to the fire because he's always talking about beating the Patriots and he couldn't get it done with Brady there?
No, I mean I wouldn't say that because their offense is certainly down. Their defense, they've got most of their guys on deep. Aaron Williams is not going to play, so they'll miss him. But he's got, the bulk of his defense there. I just think that, this New England team, they're the best team in football, and it's not even remotely close, guys. I mean, I don't see any team that even is close to the Patriots right now. And like I said, having lost to Buffalo, their only loss of the year at home, the Patriots are going to come in here. You realize, I'm sure you've heard the stat, they have not been swept in a division series since Tom Brady became quarterback. So no team in the AFC East has beaten them in both games in a single season, and I don't see that changing. The Patriots are just so much better than the Bills all the way across the board. And again, we could see a shocker. The Bills are always better at home. Yes, I understand it, but I just don't see how this matchup favors Buffalo in any way. So I think it's going to be a big Patriots victory.
Sal Maiorana of the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, we appreciate your help on this Football Friday. Of course, we all hope you're wrong, but 9 times out of 10, I seem to feel like when we talk about the Bills, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm wrong too, guys. I hate talking about that, but again, it's just a really bad matchup at a bad time for the Bills, given their offensive problems right now.
Thanks, Sal. We appreciate your time, brother.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.